The following video outlines a step-by-step procedure of a pump rebuild for Fruitland 250, 370, and 500 series pumps. Begin by draining the oil from the pump. To drain the oil, remove the drain plug and check for any contaminants in the oil. Once the oil has completely drained, replace the drain plug. Next, remove the 4 bolts and aluminum sealing washers that connect the outer cover to the inner oil reservoir. Be sure to examine the sealing washers and cover gasket. They may need to be replaced if they are damaged to ensure proper reassembly. Next, remove the 4 inner oil lines connected to the oil pump and the top of the inner oil reservoir. This is done by removing the 4 to 6 mm hollow oil bolts that hold the oil lines to the oil pump and undoing the brass tube fittings at the top of the inner oil reservoir. You are now ready to remove the oil pump and gasket. This is done by removing the 2 bolts holding the oil pump and gasket to the inner oil reservoir. A small coupler connects the oil pump to a pin in the end of the rotor shaft. It is important that you do not lose the coupler. If the coupler is damaged or broken, oil pump failure may result. The oil pump must be checked for proper operation before reinstallation. To check the oil pump, connect the oil pump drive to a hand drilling machine that will turn the oil pump in the same direction as your vacuum pump. Immerse the oil pump pickup in a small container of clean oil. Turn the oil pump through a drill for at least a couple of minutes, and check if any oil is coming out the 4 oil line outlets. At 1400 RPM, the oil pump pumps 1 US quart of oil approximately every 4 hours. You will only see a drip come out of each port approximately every 15 seconds. If no oil is coming out, the oil pump needs to be replaced. Next, disconnect the 4 oil lines at the top of the inner oil reservoir and move gently out of the way. Remove the inner oil reservoir by removing the 3 bolts and lock washers that connect it to the main housing end cap. It is best to use a rubber mallet to gently tap on the reservoir to break the gasket free. The large seal housing contains 2 oil seals that are installed back to back. They are held in place with the circlip. If the seals are damaged or hardened, then they must be replaced. If the sealing lip on the seals has hardened and is cracking, this indicates that the vacuum pump has been overheated for an extended period of time. A main roller bearing and 2 disc springs are located in the main housing end cap. Make a note of the direction of the 2 disc springs. They are conical in shape and must go back in the same direction. If you are unsure, you can call our toll-free number for clarification. Improperly installed disc springs may cause overheating, which may result in damage to the rotor and end plates. Next, remove the 8 bolts and washers holding the end cap to the main pump housing. Make a reference marking on the housing and the end cap for reinstallation. There is also a timing bolt hole with an extended ear on the end cap and a more pronounced machining mark on the housing gasket surface area, in case your mark is lost. Tap on the end cap to break the gasket free. The end cap is now removable. Inspect the end cap face for any wear. If there are any grooves present from the rotor touching the end cap must be replaced. This damage can be caused by a severely overheated pump, incorrectly installed or missing disc springs, or by a load on the rotor, forcing the rotor to be jammed into the end plate. If the pump is driven with a hydraulic motor or angle gearbox with a coupler, the clearance in the coupler must be sufficient enough to allow the rotor to stay in center while expanding and contracting during normal operation. The gasket fits on a recess in the end cap. While reinstalling the end cap, the recess has to sit inside the housing bore before you tighten the bolts. Failure to do this will most likely damage the housing end cap. After removing the end cap, remove vanes and check condition of vanes, vane slots, and housing bore. The rotor should be removed from the pump if the vanes are difficult to remove, the bearing or rotor is damaged, or there is contamination in the pump. This also allows inspection of the bearing on the drive end. If a bearing has to be replaced, the inner bearing race will have to be removed from the rotor shaft with a puller, as it is a press fit on the rotor shaft. The collar between the bearing race and rotor end face can be reused if not damaged. Make sure to check the condition of the housing bore. If the pump was disassembled because of a broken or damaged vane, Check for housing cracks. The housing must be replaced if a crack is detected. If the housing bore is in good shape, the reassembly procedure can begin. First, reinsert the rotor. Next, install the vanes. The new well-oiled vanes should slide in and out of the rotor slots easily. Next, install the gasket on the end cap. Next, put the end cap on the rotor using your alignment mark. Tighten the 8 bolts. During reassembly, you may have to lift the rotor. Next, replace the conical metal gaskets. Replace the outer cap with gasket. Reinstall the oil pump. Reattach the 4 oil lines. When connecting the oil lines, make sure to bleed off the air. Now, reattach the front plate. Make sure to wrap the oil plug with nylon tape. Next, refill the pump with oil. When installing the fan, make sure there is adequate clearance. Finally, replace the fan guard, once again checking for adequate clearance. Thanks for watching our video on the proper procedure to rebuild your Fruitland pump. If you have any questions or would like more information, please visit us online.